right, everybody, you with your main man, Anthony Brogdon. I'm back at you again, and let me tell you, I got a smooth sister, and this is her second time on the channel. She know more than 40 minutes of Black history. Matter of fact, I told her you can come on anytime you want to and share some of that knowledge. Man, this sister here be posting videos of her standing near cemeteries and tombstones and sharing. Did you know this happened today in Black history? And they are amazing posts, stuff that I'd never heard of, didn't know who they were, nothing. I look forward to reading her post. She came on before and said, hey, I sleep in slave cabins. I said, you better than I am. Shoot, man, I got so much admiration for the goals that she have in life and the things that she does in terms of this Black history, that it is amazing. But before I bring her on, my friends, I got a couple things I want you to do, and it don't cost nothing, at least a couple of them. And that is hit the subscribe button. Boom. That's free. I don't even ask no information. What it does do is let me know you like me, because I like you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. And I'm going to keep giving you this history anyway. And I know you watching me. I don't know what the hesitation is. Just put the cursor on there. And some of y'all rich folk, y'all got them computers that you use your fingers on the screen. Use that. And then like this video, like you did the last one that she did with us. Like this video, because she got something else she gonna share with you. Hit the notifications bell for when I put the videos up. And I'm putting 4, 5 videos up a week. Did you see the one with the guy out of South Africa? He said he lived through apartheid. Did you see the one with the lady out of Ireland? She said slavery was big in Ireland. Matter of fact, they was racist against them in London. We don't want no Blacks and we don't want no Irish. How does that go? And then you see the one I did with the guy whose father, grandfather was a KKK. He admitted, he wrote a book on it. He said, I'm so embarrassed to know that that's what my grandfather did. And the grandfather helped raise him. And he did all he could to make him a racist. And Lord stepped in and changed this man's heart. I got one coming up soon. And by the time you see this, it'll be on the channel. A lady who's a PhD archaeologists go to them sites and be looking for artifacts in around the East Coast area of what happened with Black folks and slavery and all that. This is her job. This thing, the train has left the station, my friends, and it ain't returning no time soon. Trust me. The other couple things I want you to do that, and these cost a little bit of money, is watch my movie. It's streaming on Amazon. Check this out. It's good. I put 2 years of my life in this. And I'm working on to get it on Tubi and some other sources. Watch out for that. Slaves who went to college and Black millionaires in the 1800s. And then, my friends, or read my book. The book is good. I say it's good. I had other people say it's good. And it's worth the money. And just by chance, you know everything that's in this book, I give your money back. A book with a money back guarantee. That might be unheard of. Not no more. I'm that confident. Slaves who went to college and Black millionaires in the 1800s? Oh, come on, you can't beat that. And it's right in front of you, and I make it in easy to read terms. Get you a copy of this. It's also on Amazon, but I tell you, if you would like to, go directly to my website, businessintheblack.net. She's sitting there patiently. I got a couple more things right quick here. I'm having my own festival in Kansas City, Kansas, May 27th through the 29th. I want all y'all to come, but I can only take 1,000. It's a small town and I need to be able to control the crowd. We're gonna have a party Friday. We're gonna have tours of the city Saturday and a picnic, a Black History picnic, Black History tours. And then Sunday, we're gonna have some church service. We're gonna pray your safe return home. And I will feed you the whole weekend. It's a minimal fee to be a part of this. And you check it out. I'll give you a copy of my book and the official t-shirt for registering. Now you hear me use this term strong a lot. Strong is my favorite word. I use my Twitter is a strong dream. I got a license plate to say strong on it. And if I could, I'd live on Strong Street. How about that? But strong stands for strength, tenacity, resilience, and a sense of oneness, nobility, and grace. And that is my introduction to the sister that is on the channel today. Watch out, everybody. She got a real nice head wrap. Real nice, all bowled up and everything. She did that for you all. So that y'all can get in the mood. She got a good backdrop and earrings. Oh, she said I got earrings too. So she can get y'all in the mood of what she gonna share. Watch her other video on the channel. Come on now, introduce yourself. Let's get it on. Thank you for coming on again, Strong Inspirations.
Well, thank you for having me again. My name is Tammy Gibson. I'm a travel historian. And for over 10 years, I've traveled all over the world locating and documenting African-American historical sites. I've been to historical homes, slave plantations, slept in slave quarters, locate and document African-American and enslaved cemeteries. And so my mission is to raise the importance of Black history and these historical sites that people need to explore.
Okay, I still gotta do this. I did this on the last video where this got, for people who didn't see it, gotta ask a couple questions about you. You kind of different. How you get to be different like this, to be this committed to a cause?
I wouldn't say different because there are people that have the same passion as I do. Okay. That travel, or they either do storytelling or do something that pertains to Black history. But to me, it's a passion. I'm a history nerd. I love history. I love vintage. I like to go back in time and learn about, our ancestors. So Black history, for me, is a part of me, and that's who I am.
When we talk so much about Black history, so much of it, and I don't know what terms to use, but let's use this one. It has a negative slant. It's the beat down, it's the slaveries and all that. What does that do for you when you go to these places and that's the bulk of what the story is?
Well, I don't think of it as that. I just think about a history that people don't want to talk about. It is an uncomfortable conversation, but it has to be told. You can't tell one story, half the story, and not tell the other half.
That's right.
And what I say is that this country has, and I say it to a lot of people, this country has a stain, and it's the stain of the enslaved ancestors. Their blood is on this country. And I tell people, when you try to erase that part of history, that's cultural genocide. And I tell people, when you think of someone that committed a crime and there's blood involved, what do they do to try to get rid of the blood? They try to bleach it, right? Yeah. That white bleach. And that's how I think what they're trying to do with Black history. They try to whitewash it to make some people feel, and I'm just gonna be honest, make white people feel they're uncomfortable when they talk to their, when it comes to the conversation. Yep. But for me, I come in peace when I talk about the enslaved community, but I'm going to tell the truth.
And sometimes also, I'm not putting words in your mouth, maybe, but you also come in reconciliation too, right?
Absolutely. And it's just, I get a lot of pushback and a lot of blowback. I get messages in my DMs, saying that, why keep bringing this up? That happened a long time ago. We're never going to get, we're never going to come together. If you keep bringing it up, well, we're never going to come together. We don't talk about it. And people's like, well, if you're upset with my post today, you're going to be pissed off tomorrow about what I'm going to post. Mm-hmm. So I really don't care what people say or think. I owe it to my ancestors whose shoulders I stand on. And when I do all these travels, it's important for me to educate and tell the truth about our history, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Now let me ask you this. I don't mean to get too personal. How do you afford this? I mean, I know you got a job and stuff like that, but you spend your own money doing this traveling for the most part.
Yes, I do. I'm blessed. I'm self-employed, so that gives me the opportunity to travel as when I want, anytime I want. But I work hard. Both my parents were entrepreneurs growing up. So they definitely instilled in me and my sister the work ethic. So my father owned 10 video stores back in the day with the VHS and beta tapes. My mother did childcare. So I just saw my parents work, and I knew that I wanted to own my own business. My sister owns her own business, my son. So this is generational of owning our own business. So I'm able to travel. And I have people that, donate a gift card, see my travels, or they like, what, if you're coming in my city, you better not stay in a hotel. You better come and stay with me.
So you've had that? Oh, really?
Yeah. So people, send me a gift card, or, here's some for gas, or, they were like, look, I better not see you in my city and you're staying at a hotel, so I have.
And these are strangers for the most part, right?
Well, I have developed relationships with a lot of people. And that's what I love about my travels. When I meet people, I develop a relationship with these people because they see me in my travels. They see my passion for Black history. So, I love the history, but I love about meeting people, in my journeys.
Yeah. Now, do you have an idea of how many cities you've been to under this pretense?
I've been to every state except for Wyoming and Idaho. I've covered pretty much every state in the United States.
Okay, let's go to some of them little ones that you when I say little, that are not Black history hubs. Like, what did you learn in? Give me one of them unique ones. I mean, like I got the guy from the Omaha, Nebraska Black History Museum and the Boise, Idaho.
But I always try to, if I do go to certain cities that don't have a lot of Black population, there might be like a marker, or they might be a little small, very small museum that don't open a lot, and when I reached out to them, they said they don't get a lot of people coming, so they do it by appointments only. Okay. So when I try to go to cities like that don't have a big population of African-American historical sites, I always reach out to them first before I even try to come out there, so I won't waste my time going there and they close. They're not open. So a lot of those places, they're more like appointments only.
Yeah.
I would say one is, and I think people know about that, is the city of Jasper, Texas. The history of James Byrd, the gentleman that was dragged for 2 or 3 miles.
Yeah.
They're slowly trying to build a community in the remembrance of James Byrd. Been getting a lot of pushback, I know they have a bench in his honor and they have a park, but they're really trying to work really hard to get some type of remembrance of James Byrd in that city.
Yeah, I remember that story. That's some years ago. So you've been there?
Yeah, and when I went there, I went to the cemetery, and it's not gated. It's like the cemetery's here, and there's homes around the area. So as I was walking up to the cemetery, I saw people looking at me right outside their windows. And an elder came up to me, and he said that his gravesite has been vandalized several times. And they're trying to get the city to put street lights around the cemetery, because when it gets dark, it's completely dark, where vandals can come in and vandalize his grave. But they have like a little steel fence around his grave, which it's just sad, because this man did not do anything to anybody, but yet in death, he's still a threat. Where, the community has to check on the cemetery. That particular grave, at one time, they used to be segregated. They have to that every day they have to check and see that his grave is, you know, not vandalized.
Yeah. I know you post a lot about cemeteries that you've gone to. I see. What's some of those? Do you remember some of those that come to mind?
Yeah, and I just started maybe a couple years ago going to cemeteries because a lot of African American cemeteries have been ran over by commercial development, or they've been vandalized, or I go to, you know, even not enslaved cemeteries where they're used as dumping grounds. They throw their trash, they throw tires, they throw mattresses. And so that's why I use my platform. Like if I'm in Richmond, Virginia, I saw a couple of African-American cemeteries that are in horrible conditions. People are throwing their garbage out there. And I just use my platform. Hey, if anybody live in Richmond, Virginia, this African-American cemetery is used as a garbage dump. You know, can somebody come out here and clean it up? Or, you know, and so that's why I usually love going to cemeteries, because, and then I see cemeteries where dogs, they go there and defecate on, you know, African-American and enslaved cemeteries. And that angers me a lot. And I see that a lot of our historical sites, you know, can be cemeteries, historical sites where it has been vandalized out of racism.
Yeah. Have you ever had have you ever been threatened in some regards when you show up at these places?
Actually, I haven't, but I do come prepared. You know, I have my little mace, and I'm very aware of my surroundings, So I'm just thankful that hasn't happened to me.
Yeah, good.
Especially when I go to cemeteries and they're in rural areas. Like for instance, Fred Hampton, he's buried in Louisiana, rural part of
Fred Hampton from Chicago.
Right.
The Black Panther.
Right, the Black Panthers in Chicago, on the west side, and his family is buried in Louisiana. And when I went there, I don't know if you've seen it, but his headstone is riddled with bullets. I mean, riddled with bullets. And I felt kind of scared a little bit, and I'm just like, wow, you know, this is actually, but you know, I've seen riddled bullets of grave sites, headstones, markers, and signs, mainly throughout the South, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, because going into these towns, I remember when I left Detroit and I moved to Atlanta for some years, and this is way back when, and I drove through the South, I had an eerie feeling. And you going in some of them towns, do you get that eerie feeling like, hold on, first thing of all, they gonna pull me over and profile me?
Actually, no. And I guess it's the Chicago girl in me. But then I had people, you know, my family is like, look, you know what happened to Emmett Till? You know, so don't be coming in over here, going into the South, you know, and I don't, but, you know, it's the Chicago me, I'm not scared. I'm not scared. You know, I know what, you know, I just mind my own business. If you don't mess with me, I'm not going to mess with you. And so I'm just thankful I haven't had, you know, that hasn't happened to me. But when I go to the South, you know, I'm not, you know, I'm doing documenting history. So if you leave me alone, I leave you alone. If you come to me, I'm gonna come to you.
What is some of the probably most ruralist, if I can use that such a word, town you may have been in?
Oh my God, I've been all over.
I know Jasper had to be one even.
Yeah, certain parts of Mississippi. My family's from Mount Bayou, Mississippi. So I've been really, you know, been to Mississippi a lot. I had planned to go back there later this year or probably early next year, because I'm doing my family tree and try to locate, you know, where my ancestors, you know, where they lived and where they went to school and church. So, I mean, I've been to Mississippi, the rural parts of Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee. I mean, my car goes all over the trenches. So it's funny because when I drop off my car at the rental place, my car is caked with mud and dirt. The seat, what's the little padding in front of the passenger seat? Yeah. I mean, it's so dirty. And they look like, where you been? I'm like, look, I've been in the mud. I've been in the trenches in the South. So yeah, so my car leaves out clean, But when it comes back to the rental place, it's mud all over the place. So
do you on this safety tip, do you dress down a little bit? I mean, you still wear the headdress, or you?
yeah, I wear my headdress because I'll be coming back to my hotel room musty, dusty, dirty. So I tell, because people want to travel with me, and I'm like, don't get your nails done, don't get your feet done, don't get your hair done, wear some pants where you don't mind getting dirty, because I'm out there in the daytime. I'm out there till the sun goes down. I'm out there when it's raining, so I'm not like, oh, this is gonna be, I do it all year round. Any type of weather, I'm out there, and I have stuff that prepare me for different, types of weather.
Well, when you say you out there doing what? What do you do when you get there?
Just taking pictures, just documenting my journeys. So I consider myself like a photojournalist.
Oh, and so
when I post my pictures on Facebook, I let my photos tell the story. So I'm there taking pictures, a lot of pictures. I think I have like over millions and millions of photos.
Oh, is that right? Oh,
yeah.
And so maybe one day there's a book of photos.
Yeah, and I also think about, when I leave this earth, I plan on putting all my photos and stuff like into a library.
Yes, yes.
So people can look me up and see all the travels I've been to. My passion for Black history. I'm a writer for the Chicago Defender. So when my grandson gets older, he can see that his grandma was a traveler. Once my grandson gets a little bit up in age, he's gonna be my travel buddy. To get him exposed to different parts of Black history. So I just, once I'm gone, I just want people
your own archives and whatnot under your name. You drive most of these places?
Well, I fly, like for instance, if I'm going to Mississippi, I'll fly into Mississippi, and then I'll hit some neighboring states. So I'll travel like for a week or a week and a half. And I just get in my car and I just road trip through Mississippi, or I might go up to Mississippi. Where you go up to Mississippi? I mean, I'll go, to whatever neighboring states. I already have an itinerary already set on states and places I'm gonna go to.
Now, when you go to what kind of places? Not just cemeteries, but other things, right?
Yeah, I go to not only cemeteries, if there are any plantations I haven't been to, historical homes, if there's any markers, murals. I love seeing public art, Black public art. So yeah.
Let me ask you this. This is a question maybe. When slavery was what it was, and the white man did what he did, let's say. And now the white man usually owns these plantations, or even a governmental entity, and they're profiting off of our history once again.
Yeah, and I hate that.
What's your take on that?
When I go to these historical sites, it's not cheap. You're paying between $20 to $25.
Yeah.
Admission, right? And then you pay that money, and sometimes you go in there and they just tell a whole bunch of lies. Or they don't talk about the history of the
any one of those moments stick out in your mind where you're like, man, why are you telling it like that?
One historical site, and I'm just gonna put it on blast.
Yeah.
George Washington in Mount Vernon. When I did this, the tour guide told me slaves were treated well. And that angered me. And I was like, well, what do you mean they treat them well? And they said that they didn't whip them. They kept the families together. They let the enslaved family, go visit other family members at the neighboring plantations. So, yeah, but then it's, for me as a historian to document, and I put them on blast. If they, if they do something I don't like, I'll put that in my my blogs. But they're very expensive, and that's a good question to ask, where did this money go to? Because some of them are owned by the descendants of the
I'm sure
slave owners. Some of them are owned by the city, or but that's a good question. So if I go to another one, I'm gonna ask, where does this money go to? Does this money go to the descendants? Are the descendants in some of these historical sites, like for instance, James Madison Montpelier, that I volunteer all the time, and I do.
Now, what is that? Tell us that story. What is that?
Well, I can say that they're the only, I say, president's historical site that has the descendants of the enslaved involved in everything. I think, yeah, James Madison Montpelier, they have the enslaved community, the descendants of the enslaved community involved in, they have an organization, and anything that they do pertain to the enslaved community, they have that community involved. I don't see that with George Washington. I don't see that with Thomas Jefferson, but they're very involved to have the enslaved community involved in whatever they do at James Madison Montpelier.
When you say involved in terms of helping do the tours?
Do the tours. If they're doing anything pertaining to the enslaved community, they want their feedback. They want their opinion. They want them involved. And they also want to get more African Americans involved in archaeology, doing excavations. They have programs for that. So I can say, out of all the historical plantations I've been to, James Madison Montpelier definitely has care about the enslaved community and care about wanting more African Americans to come to James Montpelier to not only do the tour, but see their exhibits honoring the enslaved that were at James Madison Montpelier.
Now, where is that located? And he was the president, and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah, it's in Orange, Virginia.
And so he had so many slaves.
Yeah. And when they do their tours, they talk about it. They talk about the people that they know that were enslaved there. And there's an enslaved cemetery there, and that's part of the tour as well.
When you meet some of the people who are the descendants, I know some better than others know the story, but how well do they know the story many times? And what's their take on this? Are they hey, this is what happened, and because it happened to all of us who are Black, for the most part. So
there's some that talk about it, but there's some that are just not happy about it. Some of them are not happy about how their ancestors are being portrayed or not being portrayed at all at these historic sites, and they make it known. They're not happy at all.
When what would you like to happen? What would be the best case scenario? Let's say just from your work.
Truth.
What would be the best case scenario that could happen?
Truth. Have African American storytellers on these historical sites, because I've been to one plantation where they had a white person in the cotton field. I saw a white reenactor in the kitchen, and that was not the reality. And some of them are afraid to hire Black storytellers or Black reenactors because they don't want the truth to be told. And some of these people that visit these plantations are donors to these historical sites, so they don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. So they'll tell, I know one guy, he told me that he was doing a storytelling as a Black colored troupe, and
a white guy.
No, he's Black.
Okay.
And he was doing reenacting about seeing his father being lashed, and he was screaming, saying he was a young child and he was watching his daddy being lashed. And when he finished, an employee went up to him and told him, could he tone it down because he was making some people uncomfortable. So he told the guy, yeah, no problem. When he told the story again, he was even louder. He was screaming and hollering. And after he got done, he was like, how dare this white person tell me how to tell my story? So I feel like there should be more Black reenactors on these plantations to tell the story, and not have white reenactors tell the story of Black people.
I wonder how that white guy feels, and he's portraying a slave.
No, it was a Black guy.
No, but you talked about the one that was in the kitchen.
Yeah. So how would you feel going into a kitchen where the enslaved cook, and you see a white person talking about what the enslaved did?
What is he saying? And so he might be saying, I'm happy to be here because it's helping me with my culinary skills or something.
Or see a white person in the cotton field picking cotton. Instead of having a black because there's tons of black reenactors, but for me, I think they're afraid to hire them because they don't want to hear the truth.
Have you gone to any Civil War enactments?
No, but that's something I plan to do next year. I would love to see an actual Civil War. That's something I plan to do next year.
Is any spots that you've been to that stick out in your mind that made you cry, let's say the most or something like that? Or just, you know what I mean?
I would say for me, going to the lynching memorial in Montgomery, Alabama.
Yeah.
I
couldn't go in there. I ain't gonna lie. I couldn't go in there.
Yeah, because you look and you see, I think it's like 800 columns just hanging.
Yeah.
And you see all these names and I just can't believe it. You know, you just walk in and it's like, you know, it's just, it brought me to tears.
Yeah, I cannot. Now their efforts to chronicle all this is phenomenal.
But and it's, you know, the names of the ones that they know, and it's also the ones they don't know.
Yeah,
and you see the names, and then you'll see a word that says unknown, and you see a whole bunch of words that says unknown, unknown, unknown.
Yeah.
And that really brought me to tears.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Did you go to Emmett Till's site?
Yeah. You know, I'm from Chicago. He's buried in Burr Oak Cemetery. His mother's buried there. And if you do the Emmett Till driving tour in Mississippi, one of the markers is riddled with bullets. You know, so there's a lot of vandalism.
But you said, he's buried in Mississippi, right?
No, Chicago.
Oh, so she brought the body to Chicago.
Right, because that's where he was. That's where
he was from Chicago and went down there.
Right, he went down there to spend the summer with his cousin, and doing a research. When he was murdered, the city of Mississippi, or the town, they want to bury him in Mississippi to just like, they want this to go out. But Mamie Till ordered and demanded to bring his body back to Chicago. And his funeral was in Chicago, and he was buried at Burr Oak Cemetery.
Well, now at the site where he was murdered, is there something at that site?
There's a marker. And it was vandalized a couple of times, but now if you go there now, they got a security camera and they have a marker where it's bulletproof because it was been hit with bullets. I think they kept, you know, getting another marker, and it's expensive. It costs a couple $1,000s to get those markers made. And so now they have a bulletproof marker, and it has a security camera. So it was funny because I wanted to go see the new marker. So I called the Emmett Till office in Mississippi, and I was like, look, I said, I'm a travel historian. I'm going to this marker. I want to take pictures. So I just want you guys to know that I'm not here to vandalize, you know. So they was like, no, that's fine. They said, you know, they have a security camera, and they watch anybody that pass by there that try to, you know, if they shoot it up, it's bulletproof. So yeah.
Have you ever seen a KKK yourself?
No, I haven't.
Because I have. When I lived in Atlanta, I saw two of them. They had a big march. It wasn't but two of them. And man, they had 400 state troopers protecting them. And they were marching right down Auburn Avenue. I'll never forget that.
Never seen one.
Have you ever been discriminated against in your travels? Like going to a restaurant where they said something off the cuff to you?
No.
Like you know,
and I have to, you know, and I prepared for that because if something like that happened, I don't know if the Southside Chicago will come out, you know, just come out. But no, thankfully that hasn't happened.
And you've never been stopped by the sheriff, anything in your driving, give you a ticket, nothing like that? Oh,
no, you know, I'm very heavy-footed when I'm in Chicago. Yeah. So sometimes when I go to the South, I have to remind myself, you know, that I can't be driving, you know, like I drive in Chicago, because, you know, everything is fast paced. You know, you're moving around and stuff is so I have to remember when I go to the South, everything is so slow. Yeah. That I can't be driving like a bat out of hell, you know, when I drive in Chicago.
Yeah. Just a couple more questions, I guess. Is there, What would you like to go next? I mean, what's next on the schedule?
For me, my goal, God willing, is to go to every country in Africa. So next year, hopefully I'll get the opportunity to go to Nigeria.
Okay. Have you been to somewhere? Have you been to Africa yet?
Yeah, I've been to, I just came back from Kenya a couple of months ago.
Oh, what was that like?
Oh, it was amazing. What I like about going to Kenya was going to the tribes and to see how what their daily lives are. And you can't really get a true understanding in an hour with these tours. And when I was talking to the Maasai men, they said in order for you to to understand and get the experience of their day-to-day lives, you got to be there for at least 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, sure.
To see how they hunt, to see how their marriage ceremonies, to see what the women do, and how they celebrate and everything like that. So I would love to have the opportunity to be there for a couple of months to learn about their culture and their history.
So is there a question I have not asked you or something like that that you wanted to share with us? Like what's been your last 2-3 posts of grave sites that you've been to? Let me ask you that one.
Well, let me see. I just posted, and I think it's relevant today about the importance of voting. And in Ocoee, Florida, July Perry was lynched because he was trying to get people to vote. And some of the voting happened yesterday. And so, I always tell people, our ancestors, our foot soldiers paid the ultimate price for us to vote. And that's why it's important that we exercise our right to vote. And it doesn't start, for the presidency. Look in your communities, it starts there. Look what your community is doing, ask questions, see what they're doing. But it's important to know about, what your local officials are doing and exercise your right to vote.
What's another post that you've done lately that come to mind?
Let me see. I'm looking on my social media. What did I post today?
Yeah.
I guess one I'm really talking about is Ethel Payne. She was known as the first lady of the Black press. She's from Chicago. I was raising money to get her a proper headstone in Chicago. So she worked for the Chicago Defender. She was the type of journalist that asked the questions that a lot of white reporters back during that time did not want to talk about, and that pertained to the segregation and the injustices of African Americans. She was one of the few Black women that was in the White House press conference. You look at April Ryan today. To me, she reminds me of Ethel Payne, because she asks those questions that a lot of people don't want to ask. And so for me, she's my hero. She's a trailblazer. She's just an awesome woman in journalism that, if it wasn't for her, a lot of Black female journalists would not be where they're at today if it wasn't for Ethel Payne.
One more question just came to mind. What do you think is going to be the outcome of this critical race theory stuff?
I am so stressed out about that. I really am. They're not talking about Black history. They're not doing it anyway. But I always tell people, Black history starts at home. It's important for us. If they're not going to teach it in the schools, they're not teaching it. And if they are teaching it, they're not teaching it correctly. It's up to us to educate our children, our grandchildren. It starts at home, reading to them, having posters on the walls, watching documentaries, taking them to museums. I love when people send me emails saying, Tammy, I'm going to Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee. Can you, and I want to take my children to a couple of places. Can you, give me a list? And I love it. So if they're not teaching it in school, okay, it's important for us to do it.
So you be well, I guess I don't know another word. You could become you're a resource center too for if people contact you and say, hey, what do you think I should do when I get, or where should I go, that kind of thing.
Absolutely, and I love it. And I send them a whole list of different things, places to go to. So like I said, if they're not teaching Black history at school, look at me, look at you. You know, we're doing this on social media.
That's
so there's no
right.
excuse about, you know, you can't find Black history. You know, the kids are always on the phone anyway, they're on social media. You know, tell them, look, follow you, follow me,
That's
follow
right.
other people, you
That's
know.
right.
And I always say, Black history is more than Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, and Harriet Tubman. My niece knows when Black history comes along, she knows not to do those three people because everybody's doing those three.
That's
There's
right.
so many unsung heroes and sheroes that had contributed to the fabric of this country, but are not on the history books. So no, we are more than those three people.
Yeah. Well, how do people follow you, and what's your website and Facebook and Twitter and those kind of things?
Well, you can follow me, Sankofa Travel Her. That's my website, sankofatravelher.com. Sankofa Travel Her on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I do a Black history fact every day. So some people that you may know, some people you may not know, but for me, Black history is more than 28 days.
Ooh, you've met other people along the road who you know, do similar to you?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there other than ASALH, is there some association or group that people can join and travel together to talk Black history?
You mean as far as like what I do?
Yeah. I see one called Black Travelers or something. I don't know if that's what they do, but is there like, if I wanted to join your, like, how does somebody join you to say, okay, where are you going next? I want to be there with you. Is that
okay,
the option?
Okay, so for me, I'm solo. So if anybody want to travel with me, let's go. You know, it's just a couple of criteria. You know, there's some rules when it comes to traveling with me, and people tend not to travel because they, you know, it's, you know, I travel all the time. When it's time to get up, I always look when the time the sun rises and time the sun sets. So I'll be on the road for 10 to 12 hours. So, but there are travel, but it's like 20 and 30 people, and I like to travel by myself. I don't like to be constricted on a certain amount of time. I like to just do my own thing.
I love it.
But if you go to like History Before Us, Frederick Murphy, he does what I do. Tammy Denise, she's another person. She does Hidden Women. There's so many people. Dontavius Williams. I mean, there's just so many people that are solo that do Black history, you know, individually.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. What does that say on your banner? Black history, I guess, the big words.
Yeah, and it says the Civil Rights Movement, Dred Scott case, the Underground Railroad, Black history, and the NAACP. So yeah.
Slave revolt, something. Slave revolt.
Montgomery bus boycott.
Okay.
Yeah, so certain parts of Black history.
Okay, I love it.
The Voting Rights Act of 1965. Yeah.
Yes, I love it. Man, I'm so happy you came back on the channel and took time out of your travels. I'm glad that Kenya trip, that sounded real nice too. You went in the bush country and you didn't see them animals killing each other. Did you see any of that?
In the safari, no.
Yeah, because I watched that online, you know, on YouTube. They got people that put animals, the lions, and they come right up to the cars.
Yeah, they do.
Their prey and that kind of thing. I'm sure that's pretty amazing.
No, I haven't seen those, but I've seen people who have actually seen those, and that's like, it's not scripted. You just have to be traveling through the safari to actually see that.
Yeah, just about the luck of the chance that
it's luck.
Lion grab somebody. You know,
yeah, and I saw a lot of dead carcasses when I did the safari.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah.
Is it hot in the safari?
Yeah, it's very hot.
So you take a lot of water.
Yeah, take a lot of water. Yep, and have your camera ready because you just never know what you're going to see in a safari.
one more thing on the safari before we go, everybody. I want y'all to hear it. So you fly from like that trip to Kenya. You flew from how did that trip go? You flew from Chicago or New York or whatever, and what was the flight like? And then where did you land? And that
it was a long flight. It's like 20 something hours, and you're going to connect to different places. It's not a
it's not a direct flight, sure.
Yeah, so it's a long flight, and so usually when I go to Africa, I'm there for at least a good 2 weeks. Because if you want to go to Africa, you can't stay for like 5 days. That's just not enough time. You need to at least be there for at least 2 weeks.
Did you ever kiss the ground?
No, I didn't.
You know what I mean? No, they say that. Yeah. You feel a real great sense of pride being there, Blackness and that kind of thing?
Absolutely. I tell people, that you have to go to Africa. You just have to experience it. I mean, if, of course, it's impoverished areas, but that's in any place you go to.
Yeah.
But it's it's a beautiful country. And I just tell people, leave that Western civilization stuff, leave that at home. Just come with an open mind and just take all the history inside.
And you got souvenirs and stuff like that. You buy a dress or something everywhere.
Yeah, I have 2 luggages. Always when I go to Africa, I always donate. Books, school supplies and stuff. So when I give away my donations, that 1 luggage is full of souvenirs.
Right on. Everybody, I told y'all she gonna blow your mind. I like what she's doing. I do. She's doing this with her own money and her own time because this is what she wants her mark to be on the world. I like that a lot. And I'm happy I found her. Shoot, come on, Strong Inspirations family. She's in the family. Join the family. Join her family. Be a part of that. And one day we all gonna travel together and we just gonna do what she say do. She say get up, we get up. She said we walking over there in the mud, that's where we going.
We're walking in the mud, we're walking in the mud.
We're walking in the mud because that's the real feel, and she wants you to feel it because you ain't holding her back or she'll leave you like Harriet Tubman would.
That's
she'll
right.
Left you. I ain't got time to sit here and your feet hurt.
Right.
Too
that's
late.
Right. You gotta be ready.
You got to soak them tonight. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on this video, hit the notifications bell for when the videos come up. Tell somebody about Strong Inspirations. Tell somebody about Sankofa Travels Her, right?
Travel her.
Tell somebody about her and her efforts. Let's encourage her to go ahead and get one of them books out as soon as possible, and so we can see some of them photos. And so my sister, I say once again, with all sincerity, I want you to stay strong, stay safe, stay on your grind. I love what you're doing a whole lot.
Thank you.
You're the person that you are. Your folks are proud of you.
You're in Kansas City, right?
I'm in Detroit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to Kansas City. If you can, come on down. It's May 27th through the 29th.
Okay.
2022. We're gonna have a lot of fun. I'm gonna say so long, my friends. Peace out.